a part of a telephone conversation between a customer and a sales agent. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Now, before we go any further, could you please confirm your full name for me?
Of course, it's Marge Thompson. MARGETHOMPSON.
Thank you, Marge. That's great. Now, Marge, the next thing I'm going to do is provide you with a booking reference. You should quote this in any further communication you have with us.
OK, just let me get a pen. Go ahead.
Very well. It's 777 000 44 22. That's 777 000 44 22. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
And just to confirm, you want to hire a car for 14 days, is that right?
Exactly.
Right, I can confirm that you'll be issued with a Tigray Sword Star.
What's this Tigray sword thing?
Oh, my apologies. That's the model of car we've allocated to you for the hire period.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm not that well up on car models.
No worries. I'll give it to you again. Mind you, it's 2 words. Tigray Sword Star. That's TIGRE
Perfect, got it. And that's going to be at the airport when I get there on the 2nd of July, right?
Right. At 3 p.m, it'll be there waiting for you.
Lovely. Where should I go to collect it? The hire car centre?
No, you're arriving at the South Terminal. The hire car centre is in the North Terminal Blue Car Park. Instead, your car will be waiting in the South Terminal Blue Car Park. That'll save you a long walk.
Oh, even better. And when do I have to have the car back by?
Well, we give you a period of grace, so once it's back by the 17th of July, at or around 6 p.m, there won't be any problem.
Well, as I'm flying back on the 16th, there certainly won't. I'll surely have it back by the return date, otherwise I'll be in big trouble.
Indeed. Now, what type of insurance would you like?
Fully comprehensive, of course.
Naturally, right. We'll put you down for the comprehensive then, but I must inform you that there's an excess of £500. After that, you're covered for everything.
Fine. That's pretty standard these days.
Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Now, Marge, how would you like to pay today?
Do you accept cheques?
Unfortunately not. Only a debit or credit card will suffice.
OK, I have my debit card here. No worries.
Excellent. Let me just give you a breakdown of the total cost now. It's £280 for the 14-day vehicle hire, and the insurance is an additional £75. Will you be needing a satellite navigation system?
How much?
£25.
No, thank you. I'll use my own. I have one on my mobile.
What about the roaming charges? That could amount to even more than £25.
Good point. On second thoughts, I'll take the satellite navigation. I also need tyre chains. Is that correct?
Not compulsory at this time of year.
But I may be travelling up to very high altitudes in the Alps.
In that case, perhaps you should hire them too. The chains will set you back another £25.
No problem. So that's £405 by my calculation.
We also have to include 12.5% tax, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, if you must.
So in total, that's £455.50. Now let me just...
You have half a minute to check your answers.
You will hear the head teacher of a school giving a talk to parents about some new classrooms. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Listen carefully to the first part of the talk and answer questions 11 to 14. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for making it along. I know how busy you all are with term coming to an end. As you know, the aim of this meeting is to show you the plans we've got to add 2 new classrooms and how that will affect the playground. Now, I've heard that quite a few of you are worried that there'll be hardly any playground left, but I want to reassure you that that's not the case at all. I think there's been quite a lot of uninformed talk going on, and people have started worrying unduly. I certainly hope I can dispel any of your concerns this evening. Firstly, I have a plan of what the school should look like, which I'll project onto the screen. The school governors and the developers want to hear your feedback before making final decisions. Your feedback's very important. When I've gone through the plan with you, you can ask questions and we'll discuss those queries in detail. There'll be plenty of time to tell us what you think over the coming weeks. And once the plans are a little more developed, they'll be available online. There'll be a weekly update, and once the actual construction begins, you'll be able to check progress as it happens. Personally, I'm very happy with where we've got to. I knew we had to have the extra space, but I must admit I worried long and hard about what we might have to sacrifice for it. The developers have certainly convinced me that we've made the right decision. You now have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the talk and answer questions 15 to 20. Right, can everyone see the plan now? Good. Let's start at the Balfour Road entrance, since that's where most of you come and go from. The Farley Road entrance and lower playground won't be affected at all. Now, as you come into the top playground, the 2 new classrooms will be on the right. There'll be a new gate and the steps down will be rebuilt. There'll be a ramp for disabled visitors too. On the plan here, only the parts of the building affected by the plans are shown. I'll explain why the hall is marked on later. So, as I said, the new classrooms will be to the right of the entrance and, as you can see, will take up very little of the playground space. We feel the Year 6 children need their own area away from the younger children. So, this one on the left of the 2 rooms will be the new Year 6 classroom. As you can see, there's no direct entrance from the playground. The plan is to include a small entrance area here from the playground for coats and boots and so on. Entrance to the classroom will be from that area. There'll also be an additional entrance to the hall from this cloakroom, so children will be able to get to the hall from 2 different directions, from inside the main building and from the new entrance area. I hope that's clear. Now, as you all know, the hall doubles up as the cafeteria at lunchtime. One of the rumours I heard was that we're planning to dispense with the cafeteria and open up a snack bar. I can categorically state that replacing healthy school meals with a snack bar is not remotely in our thoughts. The other new classroom, that's the one with the playground entrance here, is going to be an exciting new venture for us. That's because its principal use will be for the preschool and after-school clubs. More and more parents want that facility outside school hours, and we need a dedicated space to run these activities. I think there were also worries about the nursery school, though I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you. I can tell you now that the whole area on the other side of the main school building will be totally unaffected. The nursery will continue operating as it does now. There will be a couple of smaller constructions, modernisation work really, down here on the other side of the top playground. Cycling into school is getting more and more popular, so we're replacing the old bike sheds with a brand new bicycle bay. There'll be space for 60 bikes. The children's toilets will also be modernised, and the children will be able to enter them from inside the school building rather than from the playground as they do now. There'll be brand new staff toilets in that part of the building too, I'm pleased to say. So, I hope that's at least started to allay a few fears. Take a few minutes to look at the plan that I'll get out of the way. Then I'll answer a few questions if you have any. Does that make sense to you? You now have half a minute to check your answers.
You will hear a conversation about a student thesis. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24. Come in, please.
Good afternoon. Oh, I am sorry. Is it Professor Lee's office room?
No, it is room 640. His new room number is 614 on the right of this corridor.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Come in, please.
Good afternoon, Professor Lee.
Good afternoon. Come in, please. I remember our tutorial time is at 2 o'clock, right?
Really? Oh, I am so sorry. I remember it is at 1:30. So I go to common room to wait for 30 minutes, okay?
No, I'm free now. Let's begin.
I am so sorry.
That doesn't matter. So, how about your work?
In fact, Professor Lee, can I get an extension of time to hand in my work? I mean, I hope to extend my thesis deadline.
James, you know extension is usually given only for medical or accident reasons. So what's your problem? You have a good beginning with your draft, isn't it right?
Yes, well, I'm having too many reading materials to read.
Too many? How many?
Besides academic journals, I have about 15 books to read next month. I don't think I can finish them.
Oh, darling, you do not need to read them all.
What do you mean?
I mean, you can choose some parts of these books which can help your work.
Really? Could you give me some suggestions?
Sure. Now look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 25 to 30. Do you bring your reference book list?
Yes, I take it.
Let's see. First, the book by Bayer. I think it is really worth reading.
Read it all?
Yes, the topic of the book is nearly the same field with you.
Okay, I'll read Bayer's book.
The next author is Oliver.
I heard that his argument is very strong, but the book is a little difficult.
You are right, but I still recommend you to know about his argument, which will give you a lot of help.
Fine. Do you think I should read Billy's book?
About Billy. I have to say his work is very good, especially his research method, but you do not need to read it now.
Right. The last author is Andrew. How about his book?
In my opinion, the one by Andrew says the research findings. I mean, his last part is very excellent, clear and persuasive.
I agree with you. I'm reading the book now.
Great.
How about others?
I suggest you finish these books next month, and then we will talk about others, okay?
Okay.
Have you begun your research work?
Yes.
How are things going?
That's okay, except the research method.
What's wrong with the method?
I have made some interviews,
Yes.
but I found they couldn't give me the data I need.
Who are the interviewees?
Some are our classmates and others are schoolmates.
Oh no. James, it's better for you to interview some professionals.
Do you think it is better for me to change another research method, such as questionnaire?
I don't think you will have enough time to design it and then analyse your research data. That will waste you a lot of time.
You're right.
And pay attention to your reference.
Reference books?
No, I mean you should make clearly about what reference books you read, and then write them after your thesis.
Okay, I'll make them clear.
Fine. I hope to see your work quickly.
I hope too. Thanks for your help, Professor Lee.
That's okay. See you next time.
See you.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
You will hear the first part of one lecture, in a series of lectures about environmental issues. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. In this lecture series, we have been looking at the most pressing environmental issues that the world faces. One of those issues, global warming, has become very fashionable to talk about in the past decade. Though I'm not trying to diminish its importance as a problem, it must be understood that the effects of an increasingly warm planet will not be seen for many more decades. One problem affecting the lives of people right now is the scarcity of water. The need for fresh water will only increase as the world's population grows, especially in developing countries. In the future, changing weather patterns that come with global warming will only make the problem worse. People need water to drink, cook food, shower and wash clothes. Most of the planet is covered with water, but unfortunately only a tiny percentage of it is fit for human use. Of all the water in the world, less than 3% is fresh water. More than 2/3 of that remaining percentage is locked up in glaciers in Greenland, Antarctica and elsewhere, also unavailable for human use. The water vital for life comes from lakes, rivers, underground aquifers, rain and snow. This surface water, groundwater and precipitation is not disturbed equally across the Earth's surface. For example, Canada, which has about 0.5% of the world's people, contains about 10% of the world's readily available fresh water. Brazil makes up about 3% of the world's population, but within its borders contain nearly 12% of the world's freshwater resources. As the economies of developing countries grow, the need for fresh water also grows. One example of this has to do with the production of meat. In some countries, the demand for beef increases when people earn more money. However, raising cattle is incredibly water-intensive, requiring about 15 tons of water for 1 kilogram of grain-fed beef. The scarcity of water has a direct impact on human life. When people are forced to walk many kilometers to the nearest source of fresh water, it may take hours away from their day. This, in turn, takes time away from school or from other productive work that helps the general economy. A number of solutions have been proposed to deal with the scarcity of water. Some of them are technological, like the construction of desalination plants. These plants convert brackish salty seawater into water fit for human use. They are very expensive to operate and maintain, though, and cannot meet the world's growing demand for water. Other kinds of solutions involve only a little technology or involve modifying individual people's habits. In a rural part of India, a village facing water shortage started collecting rainwater. A simple system allowed them to save water that fell over a large area and use it during dry periods. In the suburbs that surround the cities of developed countries, house owners are using xeriscaping techniques. The main purpose of xeriscaping, unlike traditional landscaping, is not to use supplemental irrigation. This requires the use of plants, shrubs and trees that are appropriate for the climate. In dry areas, this means planting ones that use less water. In the future, many countries will need to use a variety of these techniques in order to provide enough water for their citizens. Water security will be of utmost importance to those governments, especially in areas that are politically unstable. You now have half a minute to check your answers.